I'm Robin Murphy, and I want to share with you what will be in my new book, Learn AI and Human-Robot Interaction from Asimov's iRobot Stories. It's the second volume in the Robotics through Science Fiction series. And if you pre-order before September 6th, you'll get super discounts, and if you order multiple copies, lots of bonuses. So let's go through the table of contents. The introduction sets the stage by providing a general introduction to artificial intelligence and to human-robot interaction. Then we get into the stories. The book follows the same format as Robotics through Science Fiction, Learn Artificial Intelligence through 6 classic robots short stories. The only difference is that the stories themselves are not included. You should have a copy of iRobot already. For each story, there's a technical introduction to the topic, a brief section called As You Read, to prime you on what to look for in the story that illustrates the topic, and then a more detailed technical analysis in the After You Read section. Everything's at the level of a TED Talk, where I try to put enough detail and with the correct scientific terminology, but not enough to expect you to have a degree in artificial intelligence to figure it out. Robbie is perhaps the top robot story of all times, a very sweet story, and a great introduction to communication, not just natural language dialogue like Siri and Alexa, but how nonverbal communication is important too. And that's really hard to program, by the way. Runaround introduces the 3 laws of robotics with a mining robot that's malfunctioning because of the 3 laws. So whenever you read someone saying that robots must be built with the 3 laws, be afraid. Be very afraid. And you'll find out why. Reasons about logical inference gone wrong in a robot that was built not to need humans. Designers make that assumption in the real world all the time, and it is wrong. There's always a human involved somewhere, somehow with a robot, and they need mental models of each other. Catch that rabbit. Boy, working with robots would be easier if they were built with transparency and visibility into what they were actually thinking. It's possible, it's just rarely done. Liar. The story's less about lying and more about what we call full moral agency. Many people assume robots will have full moral agency, but that's not necessarily true. They will certainly have operational morality, which is quite different. A good story to find out what the difference is. Little lost robot. There's been some research into the ethics of whether a robot should lie to you to get you to do the right thing. So, can a robot lie? Should a robot lie? Here's a story about how deception might arise. Escape. One of the biggest misconceptions in human-robot interaction is about robots and emotion. There's an assumption, a wrong assumption, that emotions can be added last, sort of the last step in making a robot more socially congruent. Evidence. Asimov almost always had humanoid robots, which leads to a discussion of the uncanny valley and what makes a humanoid creepy or a perfect Westworld replica. The inevitable conflict. Okay, there's a difference between robot autonomy, which means it can perform a particular capability on its own, and initiative, where the robot can change its task or priorities or resource allocations. What kinds of initiatives can we give to robots? Would it be wise to give them full initiative? Asimov has one answer. The book then ends by summarizing the principles, the real scientific principles of human-robot interaction that were touched on in iRobot. And it has a set of questions. A lot of the questions cover the principles, and so they aren't restricted to one story. That's why they're at the end of the book, not after each story. Well, that's the book. I see it as a standalone, entertaining introduction to the real science of artificial intelligence and human-robot interaction, and as a supplemental textbook for a course in AI or human-robot interaction. Please pre-order a copy by September 6 for discounts and bonuses, and sign up for the Robotics through Science Fiction YouTube channel and newsletter so you can keep up with real robotics and not miss a thing.